boys are going to bring the heat today.
As the leader of the Booner Pad, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff Booner and Lucas. It is Wednesday, June 25th. The day of the NBA draft, the day of the dog.
Big night! Oh, wow.
Booner, you are a stunner. Oh, my God.
Can you guys hear me? How do I sound? I'm not sunburned. I feel perfectly fine. Doesn't hurt. I'm good. I'm ready to roll. I'm getting tan. It's my tan phase. Klotz, I'll say this. You sound like, Klotz, you're in the back of a bathtub or something, or whatever that saying is.
Better now?
I got to talk.
Oh, hold on.
Nope. It sounds like you're in like the emptiest rooms of empty rooms.
But now I can't hear you. So let me do something about this.
Yeah, no, this sounds better.
Now we go. Now.
All right.
Yeah, there we go.
Do that, Lucas. Yeah, well, I got the NBA draft on. If
yes,
we'll be kind of reacting to that. We have the doc on. We have some things to get to. We were actually downtown, hence why Booner looks red. We were in the sun all day.
It's a beautiful day in Detroit today.
Rocket Mortgage Classic. Watching pro golfers go through practice rounds. Watching some celebrities out there golf. So we got to see some Lions guys. You know, Barry Sanders, obviously, notably out there.
Yep.
Getting loose. And then we saw the foursome. The legendary foursome.
I mean, it might have been one of the greatest of all time, to be honest.
It was Jake Bates, Jason Hanson, Hogan Hatton, and Jack Fox. I mean, it was a hell of a
unreal. And I mean, we could say it, right? Like, we have been talking about on this show for a year now that Booner, backup long snapper, scout team long snapper. I've snapped it to Klotz a million times. We've been talking about doing long snapping and special teams content. We have spoken with Hogan Hatton, talked to Hogan today. There is something in the works for us to go out there and get some videos and content done with those boys. Not all of them, maybe, but at least Hogan Hatton, the legendary long snapper, top 10 long snapper in the NFL.
Come on,
he's great dude.
Objectively.
Yeah.
No. He's locked in. He might be the best in the NFL.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy. Super down to earth, man. Same with Jake Bates. I mean, all those guys really. Jason Hanson was like signing autographs. Just super. It's like the special teamers, man.
It was such an awkward situation. I was standing there by myself. Jeff and Gentry were kind of just walking like behind me a little. I'm standing there by myself by the rope. And I see Jason Hanson. I mean, there was like no one at the moment following these guys. It was like us and like maybe some of their family. And I'm standing there, and Jason Hanson starts walking towards me, and I'm like, "Is he about to say something to me?" Like this dude's like one of the first football players in my life I ever met. I'm like, "This is a legend." He's walking towards me, doesn't say anything, looks at me, stands right next to me, shoulder to shoulder, turns, and just watches the golf. And I'm like, "Am I missing something right now? Am I supposed to say something to this guy right now?" I didn't say anything. I just let him do his thing. I was just letting him golf. He just walked right next to me and just stood there, like almost shoulder to shoulder. I was just like, oh, this is Jason Hanson. I'm not supposed to be here right now.
Yeah, you could tell Jason isn't. He just doesn't. I don't think he knows he's Jason Hanson. You know, I don't think it's one of those, like, I'm sure there's a lot of celebrities like that just don't know how famous they actually.
Yeah, it literally just like D-Mac. We're like, D-Mac is one of the biggest Detroit athletes of all time. And you would never, like, if you just like as friends with D-Mac, you just don't. He doesn't act even anywhere near that, man. So it was cool. Jake Bates, very down to earth, dude. He was hitting the balls kind of to the side a little bit, and Jeff one time, I mean, it was just us and I think his brother, his caddy, and him, and he hit it like off to the right, and then he duffed it, and Jeff looks at Jake and just goes, "One of us." He loved it. He loved it. He laughed. It was funny.
I was like, "One of us," because he looked human, and then he looks over, he goes, "Worse than one of us, actually, worse than that." No, cool guys, man. We got to hang out with the doc today, so I'm excited to be able to
Yeah.
talk to him. You know, we got some things we definitely need to talk to the doc about today. And there's things that have been happening. I did see a couple of things on Twitter. One of those things being what Valenti said about Dan Campbell and the head coaching ranking that we talked about yesterday. And then we also have a former scout who writes for fantasypoints.com, and he actually ranked offensive lines. So I'm going to show you guys where the Lions offensive line
Didn't
is
even
ranked.
see this, actually.
Yeah, so we can talk about that and see kind of where they still stand. But first, I do want to show this Mike Valenti quote because he did comment on Dan being 9. And, you know, me and you, Booner, had a conversation about the ranking, and we kind of mutually agreed he's probably – I think he's fine where he's ranked. If you want to move him up a spot, I think you can make that argument.
Yeah.
But
I think like 6 to 9. I think it's just, hey, okay. Like I'm not going to sit here and throw my. If you put him at 6, 7, 8, 9, all right. You have an argument for it, I think, and you have an argument if you want him at 9, as Mike Valenti does.
Well, yeah, Mike Valenti said more than just an argument. I mean, he said, this is his quote on Dan Campbell being ranked 9 by PFF. He said, quote, he blew a 17-point lead in the NFC title game and got aced out by a rookie last year. 9 is actually really respectful. Mike Valenti. I actually, and I'll say this. I'm actually a big fan of Mike Valenti. Very good at what he does. He's actually great at what he does.
Yep.
This is probably the biggest example of why he's good at what he does, because we're talking about it right now and people are reacting to it. Now that I say that, this was just outlandish. It's just outlandish. I don't know. I haven't listened to the full segment, so I don't have the full context of what he said or what it was talked about. But it's just in this quote. It is disrespectful. It is absolutely disrespectful, because I don't think being ranked 9 is what was the word? Really respectful. I think that's, if you want to say it's fine and it's where he should be ranked. But even if you want to bring up losing in the NFC Championship game or losing to the Commanders last year, I don't think that drops it. I think making an NFC Championship game, which is something that other coaches have not done in their careers yet,
Yeah.
is actually a major accomplishment. It's like, you know,
Especially from what he took over too. It's not like it's, hey, this guy took over a team that's already been there.
Right. And is to this comment, Zach, you guys need to understand that Dan has flaws as much as he is good. Yeah, he does have flaws. Absolutely does. He's not perfect. Does he make bad decisions sometimes going for it on 4th down? Yeah, he does. Okay. That comes with the territory. You know, we can all mutually agree there, but I don't think that takes away from the head coach that he is, you know? So I think to say that 9 is respectful. No, 9 is just where he should be ranked. He shouldn't be any lower than 9. I just don't know how you can make an argument he's outside the top 10. You know what I mean? He's ranked accordingly.
Yeah.
You know, especially for what he's done in Detroit.
Listen,
Last year, the job he did with all the injuries, and they were still able to win 15 games, should be that. If you want to talk about getting aced by a rookie, we have to at least bring up the 15 games with all the injuries. We have to at least bring that up in the winning and what they did in the NFC North, out coaching other great head coaches like Kevin O'Connell, who hasn't made an NFC Championship game yet. You know, we have to have those conversations too. So I get what Mike's trying to do. He's trying to draw reaction. He did, but can we just stop? Can we stop with this?
Hey, breaking news. Cooper Flagg just went to the Mavs. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, didn't mean to. Breaking news.
We knew that.
No, Jeff, I mean, I said this yesterday, and I think the thing with all these lists, especially in the offseason, I genuinely believe this. I think, and I'm not going to die on this. I truly think that if you want to put Dan Campbell higher, like I said, in the 6th spot, I think you can sit here and have a legit argument based off of what the way he's taken a team from 2 or 3 wins to the next year 9 and 8, to the next year the NFC Championship game, the next year 15. You can lay a legit case out for him. And if you want to put him at 9 at the bottom half of the top 10, I think there's an argument there. And I just think what he's saying here, yeah, I think that's why the argument would be to move Dan lower than some of these coaches. But you can't take the fact away of what he's done and what he's built. There are coaches on here, and I'll say how it is, Jeff. I told you yesterday. I think a lot of these coaches in the top 7 are only ranked up there because of what they did 10 years ago. And I told you this, Jeff. I want to see it out of some of these guys now. Like, I'm tired of being like, this is an all-time great coach. This is all-time. Is he great today? And some of these guys, no, like they're not. They can't. They're doing what Dan's doing. Like, they can't get over the hump with their current team. And they just got not lucky, but they found a way 10 plus years ago to get over the hump. Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh never even got over the hump. And we're going to sit here and put him that high. Like, Sean Payton hasn't done it in over whatever 10 years. Like, all these guys, you're sitting here being like, hey, they're the greatest. They're the greatest right now, currently today. Okay, what have they done recently? Something like I'll respect John Harbaugh. He's done it consistent for the last 18 years, and he's had we went over the stats yesterday. Only 2 seasons not over 500, and since 2022, they haven't had a game where they've lost by more than 1 possession. Respectable. Nick Sirianni, I can put him higher because he just won a Super Bowl. He's been to another Super Bowl before that, and he's done it over the last 5 years. Kyle Shanahan, over the last 5-6 years, multiple Super Bowls, not one, been to multiple NFC Championship games. Had one down year, about to have another year back at it. Sean McVay has gone to 2 Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl in the last 5 years. Andy Reid won 3 Super Bowls the last 6-7 years. Like, these are the guys that need to be talked about at the top of this list. Klotz, I know you love Sean Payton. Hey, I want you to see it. We could, like, I think there has to be a balance of, hey, what he's done in the past and what he's doing now. I want to see some of these coaches. If you're going to hold Dan Campbell, put him at 9 because he hasn't got over the hump in 4 years of coaching the Detroit Lions, but he's taken a historically bad franchise who, at the end of the day, had the worst roster in the NFL, and he has went out there and took him to a 9-8 in year 2. He took him to an NFC Championship in year 3, and by year 4, he won 15 games and only lost 2 in the season. I don't care what happened in the playoffs. That's still respectable on its own. And you're gonna push him down and say negative things about him when some of these other coaches haven't done it in 7-8 years. At some point, it's like, hey, if you're going to give all these guys credit, why not get some of these recent guys credit as well? Because these guys aren't getting over the hump. Like, do we really think the Denver Broncos are going to win a Super Bowl in the next 3 or 4 years? 0% chance. I can guarantee you it. 0% chance. Do you really think that the Los Angeles Chargers are going to win a Super Bowl? 0% chance. Do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win a Super Bowl?
Steelers, no, but the Chargers.
No, come on, Klotz. Like, Klotz, I mean, they're gonna be have opportunities to, but can you guarantee it? Can you say they're gonna? No, you're not.
So about the Lions either.
Listen, Klotz, you can say all you want. Jim Harbaugh, he's a great head coach. I should be the one on here saying it. That man shouldn't be top 6 on this list until he shows you that he could do it again. Because last year, Klotz, he had a better team than Mike Tomlin. He had the same record as Mike Tomlin. So what are you gonna? We're gonna sit here and say you can't say anything. Oh, he's a good coach. He had a better football team than the Pittsburgh Steelers, the same record, and they both got bounced in the first round.
What are we talking about here? Like, I'm genuine. Like, this is when all.
No, I think there needs to be respect more so with coaches that have done it over the last few years.
I mean, I think
I think that, hey, oh my gosh, this coach was so good when he was with the New Orleans Saints. Oh, he was so good with the 49ers. I don't care. I want to see it today with your new team. Who cares? This is going into 2025. Who are the best coaches? Haven't seen it since then out of them. Would love to see it. When I see it, fair. We can roll with it.
Okay. And
shout out the Mavs.
I love the Dan Campbell hype, but I do think, for one, they're showing him respect because he's above guys like Kevin Stefanski, Kevin O'Connell, Sean McDermott, guys that are clearly not that type of coach. And they put guys like Todd Bowles, Zach Taylor. He's in front of all these guys. But if you look at, let's take it Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh offensively did not have that many weapons for Justin Herbert. But what is Jim Harbaugh good at? Defense. In year 1, he took that team to the playoffs and had the number 1 defense in football. Allowed the fewest amount of points. So show you, they're going to 1,000% be a playoff team this year. I definitely think the Chargers are going to make a run. You have the Chargers possibly winning the AFC West, and a huge reason why you say that is because of Jim Harbaugh. So Jim Harbaugh does not have to prove anything. I think we all know as long as Jim Harbaugh's on the sideline, he's a good football coach. Doesn't matter the level. Sean Payton, too, last year with a rookie quarterback. I understand that Bo Nix is not a world beater. I don't think that just because you have a really good coach, a top 10 coach, means you're guaranteed to win a Super Bowl, because we talk about John Harbaugh consistently been great, but they have not won a Super Bowl since Joe Flacco. But if you're looking at Dan Campbell, he's been a head coach in the NFL now for 4 or 5 years. To be considered top 10 in the NFL with guys that have already been going at this thing for 10 plus, 5 plus, and won a Super Bowl, like guys like Sean McVay, I think it is respectable to consider him a top 10 coach. I think he's better than Mike Tomlin, absolutely. But when you talk about now with Sean Payton offensively, you saw Denver work last year. I mean, defensively, they were rolling. Offensively, Bo Nix was efficient. Rookie quarterback did not look like a rookie. He panned out better than I think any of us expected. And now they add more weapons. Denver's going to be really good. There's no doubt about it. LA, the same thing. So I don't have much pushback against Mike Tomlin. You got it there, but not Jim or Sean.
I mean, Sean shouldn't be number 2. He shouldn't be close to number 2. He should be 5 or 6.
Too, but he's probably top 5 for sure in the mix.
6. You could put him at 6 so we can have that conversation. But putting Sean Payton at number 2, you can't do it. You Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Andy Reid, those 3 guys right away. I would rather have John Harbaugh than Sean Payton. It's
Boone in 2025.
And Jim, at the end of the day, Jim still has to go out there and prove it. Like, yeah, he had 1 year. He literally got handed a team. You could talk about his weapons. The man had a better team than Mike Tomlin and went out and put up the same record.
I mean, one's playing in the AFC West, though.
I don't care where they're playing. It's still going out there and competing.
He's got a really good defense. And
if you're gonna, this is why I say the consistency, in my opinion, with these lists need to matter to everyone. When whoever's making these lists, they're not consistent. They look at past. They don't look at the present for some guys. They look at the present for some guys. They don't look at the past. It's be consistent. And the same thing with you, Klotz. Like, be consistent with some of these guys. If you're gonna knock Mike Tomlin that far down, be consistent with Jim Harbaugh because Jim just got back into the NFL. He just got back into the NFL. You have to let him. You have to see it first. 12 months in after having a 9-8 record, we're gonna make him a top 5 head coach. Wrong. Let him earn. You have to earn it, in my opinion. I don't care what you did 10 years ago. Go earn it. And I'm the biggest Jim Harbaugh guy. The biggest Jim Harbaugh guy. You guys know that. But in my opinion, it's like a quarterback that's retired for a couple of years and it comes back and he has like a decent year and you're like, oh, he's an all-time great though, man. Brett Favre, I'll put him as top 10. I'll put him at top 10 when he's on the Jets. Like, is he really? Or the Vikings? Like, no. Like, what are we doing here? He's old. Are you gonna put Aaron Rodgers in the top 10 of quarterbacks right now just because of his past? No, you're not. You're not just gonna be like, hey, it's Aaron Rodgers. He's top 10. No, he's probably outside the top 10 right now.
We're not.
Yeah,
and if he balls out this year, then you'd be like, hey, he's right back in the top.
Klotzy, what I do, there is a little bit of that. I don't think they value just legacy because Pete Carroll's not in the top 10. So,
yeah, but Pete's with the Raiders,
no,
he got fired from the Seahawks. He hasn't. At least these guys. The thing with Sean and Jim is they just saw they had 9-8 records and winning records, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, they're back in the top 5 again. It's like, no, give them another year. Like, I want to see if they can take one of these teams farther deep into the playoffs. I want to see it. There are coaches on this list. Nick Sirianni, who literally just won a Super Bowl, and he just went to a Super Bowl 3 years ago. He's been to a Super Bowl 2 times in the last 4 years. Is ranked below them, and those guys haven't gotten back there. Sean Payton is supposed to be a defensive guru and gave up 70 points to the Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa.
No, he's offense. Sean Payton's offense. You said Sean Payton.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Klotz called Jim Harbaugh a defensive guru over an offensive guru earlier.
Jim Harbaugh is defense.
He's an offensive guy. He's a quarterback. He's an offensive guy. He's a quarterback guru.
Like, when you talk about what he is, like Michigan,
they had a good defense, but that wasn't. Jim is like offensive guy. Jim is offensive.
You got it.
Is he not? He's a quarterback. He's a quarterback's coach.
That doesn't.
I think he's just a good culture. He's a culture coach. He does both. I think he's just a good coach. I don't think there's ever been a time where
he's good at hiring defensive guys. He's not over there. He's not good over there cooking up defensive schemes for his team.
What do you think though? Like, have you ever thought about if you're a quarterback, what's your job? To read defenses.
Okay. What are we talking about? What? He's an offensive-minded coach. Am I missing something here?
He's not. I'm going to be honest. You guys are going to get into the semantics thing again. It's really.
I had to be missing something.
No, it's not. He's an excellent. Like, he has different identity. He can make his identity anything he wants.
By the way, the third overall pick. Interested to see who this is because they're saying Ace Bailey might drop.
Jim Harbaugh with the 49ers, they were a defensive team. With the Chargers, they had a great defense, but he also helps quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying?
He's a quarterback.
So
he's quarterbacks first. That's what he's known for. He's a quarterback.
So he does. He's just a great coach. You know what I mean? But
he's good at hiring DCs too.
Can I say this though? Can I change this topic? Because you guys are getting nowhere. All right, let me change this topic. All right, Sean Payton. Now that we got because I'm not even going to comment on Sean Payton because I do tend to glaze Sean Payton as well. So I think he's I would say top 5 coach, probably top 4 if I'm being honest.
We can say 5. We'll go 5.
Whatever. We can disagree on the ranking, but Dan Campbell. Can I ask this though? I think this year is the biggest year for Dan Campbell because new coordinators. I think that's going to test any coach, and I think for Dan specifically, the style in which he coaches. He's not calling plays on either offense or defense. So he's kind of the, he's he's like the, how do you call that? I guess he's just the, he is the culture guy, but he's just basically like the micromanager, or I guess, is that the word for it? Where he just basically runs the OC and DC, lets them do their job. That this year is you're going to be able to really test and see how good of a coach is Dan Campbell, because now you don't have 2 of your top coordinators. So I think this year is a good year to kind of evaluate that. I'm not saying if it
can we get the man some credit for what he's done the last 3 years?
Yeah, absolutely.
9-8,
but
NFC Championship and the 15 wins.
For any coach, if this year hypothetically, it could go either way. If they look great and they don't lose a step, then you say, well, damn, you got to give credit to Dan Campbell. You have to.
Yeah.
But if they struggle and they can't figure it out, hypothetically, then I do think that's going to hurt Dan Campbell. We can't play the game like pump Dan up if it works, and then if it doesn't, blame Johnny Moe and Calvin Shepard.
I agree with that full, and I do think too. Like if it doesn't work, you got to see like Nick Sirianni, like when it didn't work for him, and he was able to kind of scramble together and get some elite coordinators, right, and kind of switch that thing around a little bit. So I think if it goes wrong for Dan, okay, how is he gonna attack this? Is he gonna try and do first year coordinators again like he did this year, or is he gonna go out and just get some dudes and say screw it? Like he could have went out there and made an attempt at Robert Saleh for your defense, right? Said let's go Calvin Shepard. Offensively, like there were some OCs out there. Go make an attempt at an OC. He decided to get Johnny Moe, the Johnny Moe show. So I'm interested to see how it works out. It's like one of the biggest decisions I think he's had to make since probably he's been in Detroit. Like you have a Super Bowl team and you have to make the right decision or this whole thing comes crashing down potentially. Not crashing down, but it could change the trajectory of the season.
Yeah, I think the fact that we have the conversation about how Dan's knowledge isn't out there enough as far as people don't realize how smart of a coach. He has a perfect opportunity to go out there and display it this year. So I'm excited. I think that the Lions are going to be making plays, but it's how consistently is the question. The roster's great, but depending on the play calling from either side, Dan at some point, I imagine if it's going bad temporarily, is going to take that over. But I don't think that'll be the case. I think both will do their jobs. It's just I don't think either of them will fall flat on their face. But again, his team wants to win a Super Bowl. Will they be at a Super Bowl level as far as the coordinators? That is yet to be seen.
Yeah, you give him credit if it works out, and he has to fall and take some of the blame if it doesn't. I think it. Another thing besides the coaching staff that is new and will be tested is the offensive line, which I do want to show you guys this ranking.
By the way, Ace Bailey did not go 3rd overall, which is crazy. He's very good. I don't know why you wouldn't go.
Yeah, well, I saw something today that there's an indication that Ace, there's a team that might have already told him like there's a place he likes to go, and they told him they draft him, so he didn't meet with the other teams. We're gonna find out how true that is.
I think it's crazy though, like
how true that
if
is.
That's true, but like, dude, you shouldn't meet with teams, man. I hate that. Just not meeting with teams.
Yeah, I get it.
That's just me.
I told you that when you asked me. Like, I didn't think it was a big deal, but I'm not going to sit here and say that you're wrong. Like, if I was advising my son, I would say meet with teams.
Me too. I think if you're that good, like if you're as good as you say you are, meeting with the team's not going to hurt you negatively. Like, it's only going to put more trust into a team, because essentially all you're meeting with them, especially if you're a top 3 pick, is just like, hey, just want to make sure like what's your character like? How are you in a room with? How do you flow with us? Like, is there a good vibe? You know what I mean? I think all of that is part of meeting with coaches and organizations.
Yeah,
skipping out on that hurts you, in my opinion.
Yeah, the 76ers. I just saw a graphic too. It's like the last.
VJ is very good.
the last 10 first round, the last 10 first overall picks. And it was like Cade, Victor, Paulo. And then there was 2 years where the 76ers had the number 1 overall pick and just botched them both. Like, it's just like, how do you do that?
And they had Joel with like
they drafted Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons back to back. That's
brutal. That's a tough one.
brutal, dude. Yeah,
That's tough.
Yeah, these I mean,
I forgot about Fultz.
yeah, Markelle Fultz, man.
I wanted him to work out too. I honestly not felt bad, but I was like, this guy's got so much going against him. Just to see him having success would, I think, brighten anybody's day. I don't know how you could hate on Markelle Fultz, honestly.
I think it's so crazy. This guy just like his jump shot just got broken. I don't think I've ever seen. I think he might be the only one in NBA history where it's just like, dude, this guy forgot how to they were like, he literally forgot how to shoot. He doesn't remember his form, nothing. I've never heard of that in my 20 plus years of basketball training or anything. Just never heard of a player being like, I got hurt and I can't remember my jump shot anymore.
Well, yeah, I watched Markelle Fultz in college. That dude was he was
so good at Washington.
Yeah, like an absolute bucket. You know, like only the 76ers take a guy where he forgets how to shoot the ball. I mean,
that's just
I
crazy.
Couldn't believe it. I mean, he was shooting the ball well at Washington too. I mean,
he had a strap at Washington.
Yeah, no,
that's why I was like, I can't believe this kid just has no clue anymore.
I've never
how
seen
to shoot.
that. Never seen that.
I think he just hurt his shoulder and then came back and was like, guys, I can't do this anymore. I don't know how
it's
this
actually
thing
not
works.
even funny. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's kind of fucked.
No, it is. It's funny, and I'm sure he looks back at it and is like, dude, how does that happen?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Ace Bailey's still on the board. I'm everything I'm reading about today too is a lot of players could be moved today. There could be a lot of action. I've seen teams wanting to move up and willing to move players. I mean, you never know. I don't think the Pistons are going to move up anywhere close to where we are right now in the draft, but they could move back to the first round. They could
28th overall, 29th overall. Who are we drafting, Jeff?
Alex Tui.
Yep, there we go.
Yep, that guy's an absolute. That story you were telling. Say what you said to me after the show. That shit about his competitiveness and shit. Like what trade?
Oh, I said that was on the show. That was.
Okay. You did say that on the show. Okay.
Yeah, that was on.
Yeah,
the
I
want
to make sure you say that because honestly, that was like, geez, this guy might fit exactly what Trajan's looking for.
I think he does, dude, and he works, dude. I'll tell you what, ET, bro, like his brother, the hardest worker at Saginaw, hardest worker, like up at 5:30. You'd get like everyone would be getting ready to like go out do stuff, and you'd like go down to James's room, be like, "What up, too?" And he's like rolling out, or he has like the gun, the machine, or the massage gun, like just working, like just prepper. And if anything, if his brother's like him, this kid's gonna be a star in the league. I don't know about a star, but maybe like an all-star, maybe like a Joe Ingles. They like a Joe Ingles type. And if you want to win a championship, you need a Joe Ingles.
Do.
Yeah, you need everyone. Everyone could use a Joe Ingles, man.
Great team player. That's
like Klotzy in a pickup. Like you just need everyone needs a Klotzy. Just play some D, shoot a couple threes.
That's such a good comp for Klotz, bro. Joe Ingles.
Yeah, no, I feel like Klotz is Joe Ingles for sure. I think you got
Klotz's dribble in the game is like a pump fake 3, one dribble, pass, one more.
Yeah.
Like
I'll take max 3 dribbles.
Yeah, dude, that is so good.
Klotz is very fundamental.
Will refuse to attack at the rim. Don't know how. It's not even the fact that I don't want to. I do not know how to go full speed with a ball in my hand and then transition into the air. It gets lost somewhere in between. It goes off the side of my foot, something. Dribbling is just the thing I can't do.
So you're the backdoor cut man. Yeah,
just the fundamental guy, dude.
Yeah.
He's literally the Joe Ingles guy, which is the picks in for the Hornets. I think they might go Ace here. LaMelo, Ace Bailey.
I mean, this is a Hornets pick for sure. They took Brandon Williams. So
Brandon Williams, LaMelo, Ace Bailey. That's your big
Brandon
three.
Williams had like like firearm issues in college, and they took him anyway.
Did he?
Yeah, well, he was caught. It was one time.
At Alabama.
Yeah.
And
someone
Williams, but
allegedly, well, not allegedly, someone did die, but he was
It was like his gun or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Wow.
He didn't
Forgot
do it.
about that.
I don't quote me on that. There's something. I'd have to look at the story again.
No, there was definitely a story with that. I remember.
He's going crazy though, isn't he? For Charlotte.
No, he's a hoop. Yeah, he's a hooper, man.
They're definitely about to add Ace Bailey to LaMelo. They're 100% about to. The pick's in. Can we just say the pick?
What's the pick?
No, I don't know the pick. It just says it's in. I was waiting. By the way, can we just say this too today? Another story from the Rocket. I know we have other things to get to. Dude, Jeff, how wild was that interaction with Colin Morikawa in the media tent?
Oh, yeah, just absolutely called out a reporter.
Can we play the video?
No,
can
we play the video? Yeah.
It's golf. Golf.com posted on there too. Dude, it was so crazy. A reporter, I guess, had wrote some type of quote about Colin Morikawa. The context of the story is
Kellen Moore. I was like, for what?
No. So, like, here, real quick, Charlotte. No, Con Knippel out of Duke. He's very good, though. He's very good. He's going to be good in the league. Solid player. Colin Morikawa, though, just a background on this story. He's been going through his caddies, not really going through. He's just switched caddies twice this year on the tour. So he's been trying to find a new caddy. And a reporter today, they're about to start the Pro-Am. If people don't know the Pro-Am, it's like a pro golfer with not just celebrities, but like people who donate to the event, people who donate to different organizations in Detroit. So people that you want to show time to, and they spend a lot of money to be able to participate in it. So Colin's talking with the Pro-Am people that he's playing with, having conversations. And the reporter, I guess, tried to call Colin over and ask him and talk to him about his caddy. Like, hey, who's your cat? What's going on with that? And Colin told him and said, hey, I'm going to do media in 2.5 hours after my round, and I'll talk about it then. And then while Colin's doing the round, this guy writes an article and puts that quote in the article being like, and then when I asked him about it, Colin said this, and made it sound like Colin was kind of like yeah. And the guy said he didn't mean to do it in that sense. I could play the video here. The guy tried to be like, well, I didn't mean to make it in that sense. I meant it in a way where I respected that you were going to do that. And Colin was like, yeah, that's definitely not it. It's crazy. Mind you, there's probably 10, 15 people in this room. It's like a tent. And me, Mike, and Jeff and the doc are just sitting there listening to this whole thing go down. And the doc, and you guys know the doc's just sitting there in my ear going, ooh, the whole time. I'm like, Doc. It's so funny.
I don't, and I read your article that you wrote. I'm here to tell people how to do their jobs, but I don't get why you would make me sound bad because you put out my quote that I was playing with Pro-Am partners out front. Those guys are paying a lot of money. They're very important to the community. They're very important to the Rocket Classic. And for you to put out a quote like that, to put me down and saying, hey, wait 2.5 hours. I mean, you called me up on the first tee, so I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. You can write whatever you want. This is America, but don't put me down like that because it's 2.5 hours, Adam. It's
yeah, it's tough.
You can all read it very differently. That's not how I read it. I don't know how, but I'm just telling you, I think there's a perspective where people can read it like that. So I'm just going to leave it at that. We knew I was going to have media in 2.5 hours. I'm on the first tee, meeting my Pro-Am partners as they're teeing off. So on the caddy front, I don't. It's a process that I'm going through. Hopefully we'll find out when the time comes, and I will let everyone know. Thank you.
Yeah, he was sick of that bullshit today. Man.
You could hear a pin drop in that room while that was going on. Besides Doc in my ear going,
I know the doc was probably sitting there going, "It ain't me this time."
Oh, dude, he is so funny, bro.
Yeah, when athletes call out reporters in the media room, it's honestly thrilling.
It's a little awkward though, because you're like, and then right after Colin goes to leave and the guy gets up, it's like, can we have a word outside? And they go outside. And you know what's crazy is my cousins were there, Jeff. Remember I told you my cousins were there?
Yes.
Yeah. So my one cousin, his cousin-in-law, so his dad was there. And one of my cousins told me that after that he showed him a picture of Colin and he had gotten a picture with Colin or took in a picture of Colin Morikawa after he walked out of the media tent. And I guess my cousin-in-law's dad could see Colin and the reporter talking. And it was like clear that I guess when Colin and them went out there outside the tent, that Colin Morikawa was more visibly like kind of angry. And I was, and more than maybe inside. And the reporter was trying to like, and I don't know. That's allegedly, that's just what I was told. But hearing that, and he said that he heard that story without knowing what actually happened.
Yeah, that dude got,
That's wild.
Yeah, called his ass out. And then he came back in. I was like, he probably is thinking, like, sitting there, like, oh, yeah. Like, I just got.
Yeah, I think he just walked over and got like a cookie right away or something. It's just like, this is an awkward moment right now. I wanted to be like, what's up, dude? That was crazy, huh, bro?
Hey, by the way,
You see that?
What?
no Ace Bailey yet.
Yeah, dude. 5th pick. Is he at Utah? Maybe he goes to Utah. Pick is
Could go
there.
to Utah.
Says they need a switchable big. Maybe this is Trey Johnson. Trey Johnson is pretty good. It was weird, bro, with Trey Johnson from Texas. Did you guys watch him at all in the tournament?
No, not really.
No.
Very, very up and down play. I didn't get to watch him during the regular season, so I didn't see how consistent he was. In the tournament, though, he was like, I had bet on him, and he was just like chucking shots up, missing everything. And it was the most frustrating thing of all time. Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? I just started. I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to. Should I keep going there?
Derek says, was this a local report?
It was not. It was a national reporter. No, it was national. It was like a big time. I think he writes for either Yahoo or like Golf something. I don't even know. But it was a bigger reporter. I mean, it's pretty easy to know who it is. If you go on Twitter, like it was blowing up today in the golf world. Colin was, all of that whole situation was kind of getting put out there a lot, to be honest.
AG says this next pick is taken. I bet I wonder if Utah's trading. Just wait. You never know, man. Utah, I mean, I think it could be, I mean, things could get weird today. I'm just saying, Pistons could trade back in, not this early, but, you know, later in the first round. Or Ace Bailey could fall. There could be franchise players traded away for top picks. I don't know. You know, it's the NBA.
I got it already.
Where's that guard out of Florida supposed to go? Like range?
Probably late
like
first.
Like mid first to late first.
Ace Bailey, Utah Jazz.
Okay, there you go.
5th overall. That's kind of a good 5th overall pick, to be honest. I think Ace is going to be very good. This dude
trade for John Collins. Go get John Collins, man.
I could be wrong. I think he just opted into his deal today.
That's fine. Trade for him. He's not making that much money.
That's such a good pickup for the Utah Jazz. Yeah, John Collins has exercised his $26.5 million player option.
26.5. Come on.
26 season.
Yeah, I think Ace Bailey's a freak. I want to see what he is in the NBA because he's a 6. He's basically a 6'10" guard.
Yeah,
like it's like he's basically
his
like
comp is KD.
Yeah, like
That's
he's literally he's a 6'10" guard. You know, he's going to be really good.
The thing I think that not questions. I just think I think when you play in the NCAA tournament as a college player, I think that helps your stock a lot.
Oh, definitely. Especially if you can put
national level.
Yeah, national level, but it's put in pressure moments. Like you can see if somebody's built for under pressure and to see how the game stacks up against different, because you're going to be, if you make a run, like you're not going to be going up against Michigan, Gonzaga. Like you're going to go up against higher tier and lower tier teams. So to see how you match up against both those, I'd imagine.
An idea. Yeah, that's why Rutgers didn't make it. So it's like we didn't get to see him there, which is, to me, that was like a little bit, maybe that's why. The Detroit Pistons quote tweeted Jazz on the clock with fifth overall and said having flashbacks over here, 5th overall. Jeff, are you good over there, man? Are you frozen?
No,
I don't know what's happening. Klotz, am I going crazy? What's Jeff doing?
He's
right
locked
now?
into the draft. He's locked into the draft.
I was just saying, hey, we're live right now, brother.
no, I know. Hey, I'm watching the draft. I'm here. I'm listening to it. What's wrong? Why? What do you want to do?
Yeah, you didn't say anything for a while. We keep pausing. I keep waiting for you to hop in, and you're just like,
I'm just no.
you have a little like weird grin to you, but you're not. It's like you legit look frozen.
No, I'm just watching the draft. Doc's joining in 2 minutes.
We got to let the doc know it's kind of a NBA draft watch party. So if there's breaking news, I will interrupt him with the trade. Or
He's not going to like that.
He's got it, and he'll know it. He's got to deal with it. It's a draft night. It's a big night.
That's kind of. Yeah, I mean, the NBA draft this year. I said yesterday. It's really the first time that I have just not dove into it, and I'm kind of okay with that. Honestly, I'm just okay with that. But before Doc joins, I do want to tell you about the sponsor of today's show, and you guys need to use this sponsor. Okay, it's an amazing company that does amazing things, and that company is Comer and Cross. So let me tell you about them. All right, they got 1-day installation concrete floor coatings. They do garages, basements, patios. You guys know the ordeal. Talk about them, and the biggest thing is, especially for homeowners, you guys are staring at various cracked, stained, garage floor, patios, driveways, whatever it may be, and Comer and Cross can take care of that. Right now, during Comer and Cross summer installation sale, they're offering 12 months same as cash or $500 off in savings. So call the number 248-834-3488. Again, they transform patios, pool decks, basements, even driveways. They even move the stuff out for you. They'll repair your cracks and pits before applying your stunning new floor guarantee. Comer and Cross concrete floors never chip, crack, or peel like epoxy or paint. With 12 months same as cash or $500 off during their summer installation sale, call the number 248-834-3488, 248-834-3488, or you can book your free estimate at comercross.com. Tell them your friends over at Crunch Time Sports sent you.
Check them out.
Now let's get back to the show. Let's wait for the doc. All right. Shout out to Comer and Cross, by the way.
Doc, a little late tonight.
Yeah. What'd you say?
A little late tonight.
What?
The DLC.
The DLC, yeah.
I mean, it is 8:45. I mean, he's technically we got a minute before by the DLC standards.
You're on Doc's time. We're on Doc's time.
Yeah, we're on Doc. We're in Doc's world. He's always a good time, man. I like hanging out with the Doc. He's a fun time. I'm gonna see him tomorrow downtown too. When we go back downtown. So.
See him all weekend, man.
Yeah, he's
be with the Doc all weekend.
He's just a great guy to talk to, man. Just no wonder why people pay him to talk to him. He's easy to listen to. I know he might say things that rub people the wrong way, but that's just the Doc. He's unfiltered. So
hey, some people I think people judge too much, both ways. Let people say what they want and just do what they want. You know what I mean? That's how I look at the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are some things you shouldn't say that might be disrespectful. The Doc doesn't do that, but with those
he hits
types
on a couple of them.
Yeah, with some of his
For sure.
opinions, hey, let the Doc be the Doc, man. Don't have people change.
Never change, Doc.
Yeah,
people tell me to be quiet, stop yelling. I will be. Why change? Don't change.
Well, the DOC, he did have his 3 extra large shorts and polo on, even though he's
by the way
double extra large. He has he's just.
I said that on the show. First thing he says to me at the Classic is, "I've only got 1 X shorts on today, Booner." The funniest guy. It's so funny.
Let's bring in the DOC. Covers the Detroit Lions. Knows all Detroit sports. Host of the Lone Wolves podcast. Honestly, the mastermind, I'm going to say, behind Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated. That is the DOC, a.k.a. John Macroon, a.k.a. Doc Daddy, a.k.a. the Mac Daddy. Let's bring him in. How we doing, Doc?
Fellas, it was fun today. I really did enjoy hanging out with you guys, keeping me young, watching you guys do your thing. creating good content. It was really fun to be out there at Detroit Golf Club. And I see that you guys were talking about the DOC a little bit, maybe some of the antics that were happening with the DOC this last couple days. But I think people are realizing the DOC is a unique character, but one of one, as they would say.
Yeah, I mean, Doc, it was a blast. It was a blast downtown. All right, I gotta turn this draft off so we don't.
By the way, Doc, I just want to let you know before Jeff goes, the
ahead.
NBA draft is on. It's the Doc's night / NBA draft watch party today.
Yeah.
So if there's breaking trade news or breaking picks that might be big, I might interrupt you just being like, we have news. If that's okay with you, Doc, and it keeps you up to date as well with what's going on tonight. It is a big night.
Yeah, absolutely. With the 37th pick, the Pistons select somebody irrelevant that's not
Whoa, Alex Tui.
with nothing.
Not
Nothing's gonna
irrelevant.
happen. This draft is boring.
Hey, well, Doc, I want to start off by something we talked about today, and that is Mike Valeni. He's great at what he does. You know, he gets reactions out of people, and he did that again today by talking about Dan Campbell, and he was ranked 9th. You guys were on top of it. Already put out an article about it. And the quote he used was, he blew a 17-point lead in the NFC Championship game and got aced by a rookie. I think were the quotes. He said they're being very respectful, putting him at 9. What do you make of those comments? And Dan being ranked 9, is it fair? Should he be higher? And then kind of to follow that, how much pressure do you think Dan is under this year with brand new coordinators to kind of cement that he is a top 10 coach?
Yeah, no doubt. And listen, here's the thing that's great. Mike is reading Lions on SI and the other bloggers. That's great. It's great to see that Mike finds our content. Why? He hits it because Google ranks very high for Lions on SI. And he definitely took notice of my headline that said Dan Campbell disrespected. So look, Valeni understands and he took a stance. So isn't it great to see that the doc stirs it up, and so that Mike Valeni will have to react to the stuff that Doc's writing about? It's great. Now, he was a little bit wrong calling us Kremlin radio, but I get his shtick there. I get the idea that he thinks that sometimes that people sway a little bit positive. But no, I do think that 9th is disrespectful. And here's why. The Detroit Lions are coming off of 15 wins with a battered football team. What credit then do you give Dan Campbell for holding it together? Once Aiden Hutchinson went down, and I said it on the latest Lone Wolves podcast that I recorded just before I came on here, I said that the credit that he deserves for last year should be immense. That team was injured, battered on one side of the ball. And I just think when I first saw the ranking and I said 9th out of the 10 returning coaches, I just hyper focused on, I feel like Dan Campbell's better than Kyle Shanahan. He outcoached him in a couple games, even though they didn't end up being on the right side of the scoreboard in the NFC Championship game. The Lions were in control, and it was more about the Lions choking than it was about the 49ers. And then they went out there again and dominated. They dominated them out there in their home. And then I feel like, doesn't he get credit for the playoff wins against the Rams and then winning again in the season opener? And I just feel like Dan Campbell's not getting enough credit. Now, he's not the best coach in the NFL, but I feel like I would slot him between 3rd, 4th, 5th. I think you go Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni, and Dan Campbell's right there. I think he's better than Sean. I think he's better than Sean Payton right now. And I think that what's happened is people have started to romanticize Ben Johnson and thinking that Ben made Dan. Absolutely not. I said it directly into the camera on my own podcast. I said Dan made Ben. Dan got Ben paid, not the other way around. Dan Campbell taught Ben Johnson a lot about the offense, and Ben Johnson put together a lot of different things. You don't think that Dan Campbell was well aware of each and every concept that Ben Johnson put together? You think just Ben taught Dan? It was the other way around. So in my humble opinion, when you go, just look at the proofs in the pudding. 3 wins, 9 wins, 12 wins, 15 wins. Now, the next step for Dan as a professional head coach is to get his football team to the next level and be able to get to the NFC Championship game, win a Super Bowl. That's it. That's the last thing on his resume. But you don't think Dan Campbell knows X's and O's? He's I've said this many times. He's an offensive mastermind. And when you know the X's and O's and you can do the one thing that Matt Patricia couldn't do, Matt Patricia lost the football team in 4 seconds. Dan Campbell will have people run through a wall. You know how hard that is? These guys are rich. These guys they don't have to care. They don't have to invest. Dan Campbell loves his players. He cares about them deeply. And how do you know he cares about his players? Because he wants the best out of them. If he sees them not performing at the highest level, he's all up in their business and making sure that each player individually can grow and be the best person. Look how he handled the Frank Ragnow retirement. Boom, stand out there and said, listen, guys, the whole money talk, that's nonsense. Frank would have took care of it. I humbly respect everything about Frank Ragnow. He's a former player. So what more do you need from Dan Campbell other than finally the last piece? And I think that he's inching his way to that point where he's going to be here a long time. We are potentially looking at a 20-year Mike Tomlin run with this head coach. If he can get that one Super Bowl, he'll be here for decades.
Doc, wow. you're talking to two guys, and Jeff and Lucas, who live by the Bible for coaches who had success 10 years ago. That's what these guys love. They love coaches who had success 10 years ago. Am I wrong?
Listen, no, the coaches on the list deserve to be there. They're highly respected. But I think that Dan Campbell's right there in that mix. He has to be. Listen, Kyle Shanahan, I just was focused on that one coach of the Falcons. He needed to do one thing in the second half, up 28-3, run the damn ball. He forgot how to coach. He got a little too overconfident. And then wouldn't you say the number one word you would use to describe his tenure with the 49ers is underachieved? Dan Campbell, by all accounts, is
underachieved, Doc. He lost to Patrick Mahomes. Doc, if you're looking me straight in the face and you're telling me equal playing field, if you line them up, that you're more confident Dan Campbell can win you a Super Bowl in 2025 than Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Kyle Shanahan. Did you put McVay above Dan Campbell in your top three?
I listen.
You're smoking crack. If not, if you think you're taking Dan Campbell above those guys, you're out of your mind.
Okay, all I could say is on the football field, the Rams played the Detroit Lions in a playoff game, and the Lions came out on top. Why? Because Sean McVay at the crunch time, when it's important, is not as aggressive as Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's at the forefront of being aggressive, and he had if you're talking about offensive football, which Sean McVay is widely considered a mastermind. Dan Campbell had the single greatest offense last year, scoring on 50% of the drives.
So is Zach Taylor better? Is Zach Taylor a better head coach than Sean McVay now?
So I think Dan Campbell is. I would take Dan Campbell.
Zach Taylor, because Zach Taylor, he's done what Dan Campbell hasn't. He's been to the Super Bowl. You see what Cincinnati does on offense? So is Zach Taylor better than Sean McVay too? Sean McVay won a Super Bowl like 3 years ago.
Zach Taylor's in the conversation of being a great coach. Listen, if any NFL team has a chance to call up Dan Campbell, they would take him. There's one of the first things you got to be able to do, relate to the players, get the players to play. When you have all those injuries and the team still won 15 games, what's that the definition of? That's the definition of coaching. So I think that we're, arguing here in regards to like between third and fifth, but I don't think he's ninth. I think he's better than Kyle Shanahan, and he's going to hopefully have another opportunity to play him again, and they'll dominate. And here's the thing. You're going into this year thinking the Detroit Lions, when I hear you guys' show, you guys think double-digit wins, even though they have one of the biggest schedules. Why? Why is everybody in town still confident in the Detroit Lions? It's because of Dan Campbell. And you guys, I just think that he's underrated in terms of what he can do offensively. He learned from Sean Payton, and now he's taking it to the next level by adding the aggressiveness.
Who did he learn from, Doc?
He learned from Sean Payton, but now it's Dan Campbell's era, and everybody's going to know it in the next year or two.
Did they play head-to-head?
Yeah, and didn't it look like Dan Campbell's team spanked him pretty good?
By about 30.
No,
by about 30. No, by about 30. No, but that doesn't fit my narrative, though. It doesn't fit my narrative. No, it doesn't fit my – come on now.
Because
all I ask, I've been asking to these people, anyone, when you do rankings or you had these conversations, I'm not saying you, I'm saying these guys.
You don't even agree with
be consistent. That's all I ask. I said Sean Payton should be lower on the list. I don't like
top 4 to 5, and Dan's probably.
No, I said 5 to 6. Go back and clip
where's
it.
Dan?
5 to 6.
No, you just lied right to the doc.
Now listen, I just think it's but at least like John. Yeah. I called the doc John, which is weird. But the doc is consistent though with it. You guys like this coach. I'm gonna go off this. Oh, this coach. I'm gonna go off this. And can we just be consistent? Is it off this year, last year, the year before, or is it off 10 years ago? Like, what is this based off of? Because the rankings that I'm seeing here from PFF is like half of it is resumes from 15 seasons ago, and the other half is resumes from last year.
Listen, I'll say this, guys. I'll say this in regards to what's next for Dan Campbell. He does have to get this football team in terms of right now, when you have this short window between this year and next year, you got to cash it in. It's that time, because you don't want to end up being a team like the Bills that just perennially gets there and doesn't get over the hump. You want to be a team that's in that conversation. And it's great to be in that conversation. It's great to be in the 10. You know, Dan Campbell was the highest rated coach that hasn't had a Super Bowl or been to a Super Bowl, but it's coming. Like, you don't like, are you sitting here? You honestly think that Dan Campbell, with the way in which he's going to evolve and get players to play, the way in which the offense is going to perform at such a high level, you don't see continued success? Hey, at the very least, you should give him credit for the fact that he's gotten to this team to win back-to-back division titles. That hasn't happened in ages, never happens. So I look at it from the perspective of, when you look at it and comparatively, he's right there in the conversation, but I don't think he's ninth. I do think he's a better head coach, X's and O's, game plan, positioning coaches in the right spot, in-game decisions, in terms of being at the forefront of things. He's one of the most aggressive coaches, and it turned out to be a fruitful endeavor for the Detroit Lions. And so when you're a leader, when you're a visionary, when you're somebody that can do things differently than a lot of people, I think the act that he puts out there that he's a meathead is not real. He definitely knows his X's and O's. He gets the players to play. And for the Detroit Lions, it's the perfect head coach. And now the next step is, now when you get to the postseason, you got to find the offensive line and get them in gear. And you got to make sure your defense catches up to what your offense can do. But I think that that's coming right around the corner. And look, first and foremost, when you resurrect Jared Goff's career, when you say, you don't think Brad Holmes went to Dan Campbell and said, watch this guy's film, what do you think? And Dan said, I can work with this. And they built an offense to resurrect Jared Goff's career. That's simply a feat in and of itself. Credit to Dan Campbell for this nice 4-year stretch. I don't think that it's worth knocking him. Now, I just think that he's a top 5 NFL head coach. I think 9th is not even giving him enough credit for the success. Just if you just look at what he did last year, I think that's a top 3 worthy achievement if you're going to do a ranking, which PFF is smart to do that. But I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility to elevate Dan Campbell higher than 9th. I don't think that makes me a homer. I didn't put him first. I think he's a top 5 NFL head coach. I'm glad he's the guy that's running the Detroit Lions. A lot more success will be. I never in a million years dreamt that we'd be talking at this level about the Detroit Lions adding a couple players. Guys, you could make a legitimate argument they're 3 players away from being a Super Bowl winning football team. I never thought they'd get to that point, and one of the biggest reasons is Dan Campbell.
Doug, I want to ask you, Mike Payton had put out trade proposal for the Detroit Lions to get AJ Espinoza. Definitely probably pronounced that wrong, Espinoza, however you pronounce it, for DJ Reader. What are your thoughts on that? We had actually had the conversation today on the course when we were walking around about it. What were your kind of thoughts and initial reactions to that?
I don't know why you'd ask me that. I like the guy, but I think his shtick is interesting. That, you know,
AJ Espinoza?
No, I think the content is great that he does. He comes up with great ideas, but he's doing what he needs to do to generate interest in the offseason. I liked it. I thought it was an interesting idea. It's never going to happen, because why would you risk giving up what's most important to Brad Holmes in the interior for a defensive end when Brad Holmes just literally went on a podcast? And what's interesting is, in one sense, Mike does one story where he says, man, Lions fans, y'all should stop talking about the defensive end. Well, then in the next breath, he's like, let's trade for all these defensive ends. It's kind of like, dude, if people read your stuff, you're flip-flopping a little bit too much. I think fans should want defensive ends. I think trade proposals are interesting for websites, but it's not likely to happen. I think that fans, and we've done it too at Lions on SI, but I look at it from the perspective now. I think we can kind of, in my humble opinion, look at it from the perspective of, it's probably the only addition at defensive end the Lions are going to make is Zadarius Smith. No other names that I've read from anybody even make me believe it's realistic. I definitely report on what other people are saying, but I just don't think that it's all that relevant at this point in time in regards to what the Lions are going to do. I don't think DJ Reader. I mean, seriously, I just think on the other side, not to disrespect DJ Reader, I just don't see his trade market. I don't see a team calling up the Lions and saying, "Hey, I want DJ Reader." I just don't see it at this point in time.
And Doc, is there anybody that you could see around this team being traded just to kind of go along with that, where you could, it doesn't even have to be a big name like DJ Reader, but maybe one of these younger guys that we see get drafted in the last couple of years that aren't going to be able to make the roster? Do you see anybody getting traded from this team at all?
Traded? I mean, the only name that you hope could yield something is if Hendon Hooker really blows it up in this training camp and has a wildly successful preseason, and you can maybe get a 3rd round pick back. I don't think anybody gets traded. Those kind of deals typically, don't typically happen at this point. I mean, yeah, sometimes guys on the last year of their deals, the Lions don't seem to be in that position to do those kind of things. Maybe a stretch would be trading Alex Anzalone, but I doubt that they do that. I don't think the contract will get that contentious. I don't see the team making moves like that. I see subtle moves, depth along the offensive line, maybe linebacker. If they find something, maybe if someone gets hurt when it started training camp, a couple guys that, roster spot, 85 through 90, that are going to be in the back end of the roster, what we call, not to be disrespectful, training camp bodies that can just provide a little bit of competition, offensive line and defensive end. It could happen, but I don't see trades happening.
Yeah, Doc, I think the big thing, too, is kind of what's happening with this O-line. And I think a conversation we had, we've had it over the last about week or so. But the Graham stuff, like we've discussed it, he's under a lot of pressure. But I saw that a former scout ranked offensive lines and had the Lions top 5, which I think that's probably a little rich for me. But I do want to ask you, Miles Frazier specifically. I think there's probably some people that assume that Miles Frazier may be one of those guys that gets developed and, coasted along, and maybe next year he turns into a starter. Doc, am I crazy to think that if this Tate Ratledge to center thing works out quicker than we expect and Graham is struggling, could you see a scenario where Miles Frazier, Tate Ratledge, and Christian Mahogany are the interior of your offensive line this season at some point, maybe late? But is there a chance, or do you think no way they're going to ever bench Graham and go right to Miles? It could probably be someone else. Because I think Miles is that good. He played in the SEC, faced NFL competition. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he's a draft pick, so the Lions like him. So that's incumbent upon him to prove that the team should play him. But I just think that early on, I mean, that would be a true homer then to kind of, it might be Kremlin podcasting if you say, oh man, the Lions, 3/5 of the offensive line are rookies, or 2/5 are rookies and a guy in his second year. But Mahogany's a guy I like. I'm comfortable at the left guard spot. I really hope that Graham Glasgow can be a stabilizing force. It gives everybody a little bit more confidence because he's done it before. Tate Ratledge, it's tough because, yeah, he could be a very solid center, and they may see him that way in the future. But I think for the success of 2025, his best spot is right guard. So you just got to hope that however they put it together, that Graham Glasgow works. You have to hope that. If it doesn't, that's not a great sign, because then that would mean some losses would pile up. Goff would take some sacks, and, the interior is getting blown up there from the opposing defensive linemen. And you don't want nose tackles to be all up in your business, because then you can't get things going with Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. So you got to hope that Graham Glasgow. Now, based on his contract, Christian rated him as one of the worst contracts on the team. And he also, Christian, if you check it out, we did a couple articles, the best value on the team and the worst value on the team. And Christian's not a big fan of Graham Glasgow at the moment based on his contract. So if you're looking at a guy that could be a surprise cut, maybe at training camp, it could be Graham Glasgow if he struggles, because they do have his replacement right there ready. And they have other guys as well in terms of Kingsley Egwakun as well, to potentially be at that spot. And you never know. Maybe Miles Frazier could get some reps at center too throughout training camp, as they're going to cross train everybody. So Miles Frazier is a good player. I do think that he can anchor. He can do a lot of things good against the run, can do a lot of different things, can develop fully as a pass protector. Now the ranking, look, when you have one of the best in the league at Penei Sewell, that elevates your ranking. I don't think they're a top 5 as constructed. I think they're top 15, upper echelon. But look, it's a good problem to have when you have Taylor Decker, who's got experience. You need him to kind of rebound, stay healthy. And when you got some young guys with potential, it's going to be one of the biggest question marks this year is, okay, does this offensive line gel sooner rather than later? You hope so, especially with the early part of the schedule.
Yeah, Doc, one thing I thought was interesting, and again, one of the articles that I read on your website, Detroit Lions on SI, you did do an article, and this was you who wrote it, about Jared Goff potentially being able, and that, I guess, being able to throw for 5,000 yards this season and being the first quarterback since 2022, Patrick Mahomes, to do so. What are your thoughts on that? Like, can you break that down a little bit on why you feel like that he could actually do that, especially with, the Johnny Morton addition? Can you break that down a little bit, Doc?
Booner, I'm very proud of you because you saw the headline, this bold prediction from the doc. It was an opinion piece, and you read what I wrote. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much. That's humbling. It was an opinion, and I'm dabbling more in the offseason with my opinions because they seem to be conversation starters. People like to share what I say, and I really appreciate that. And here's what I think. I think that Jared Goff might find that the teams are going to start to pay attention to Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. It's one of the easiest things to do is stack the box. And people will be like, look, you got to pick your poison. And Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, that's pretty bad poison. And they're going to be like, we got to be able to try to stop the run, because if we can force Jared Goff to be one-dimensional, hey, we got a chance. But guess what? I think the Lions have enough offensive weapons with John Morton and Dan Campbell, the offensive wizard, to be able to sling that football. And if Jared Goff, think about the puzzle that I can put together with my genius brain, the DOC brain. If Jared Goff wants to take more control of the offense, what do you think he's going to probably love to do? Toss the rock. And when you got Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Nutoy Tesla, and Tim Patrick, you get those crew together and you'd be like, let's go, let's sling it. And you guys know factually the Lions were Yak Kings last year, the team with the most yards after the catch. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to want to continue to prove that he's the alpha. And I just think that there's a chance, if you're going to throw out a bold prediction, I think Jared Goff can throw for 5,000 yards. It's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not even crazy that this football team can launch it deep to J-Mo at a high rate. It could be the greatest show at Ford Field for 2025. I think Jared Goff could have a great season in the regular season. And when you look at it, I think that Jared Goff, if he's the gamer, if he's the guy that's going to want to come back from a disappointing loss in the postseason, having his Jared Goff's chance basically be erased in town, go after it. Go after 5,000 yards. I hope he can accomplish it. I think he has a realistic chance. He's been around 4,600. Call more passing plays, Johnny Morton. And I think there's opportunities for success with this passing offense. I think the offense can be great. They can do basically whatever they want. And if teams decide to, I think if you really look at it, it's almost going to be nearly impossible to stop the Lions offense. Pick your poison. You want to stop the run? They got 4 legit offensive weapons at wide receiver. You want to stop the wide receivers? David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are going to pick you apart. So your defensive coordinator, you just got to try and figure it out. And I think the easiest way these guys try is to say, okay, let's make them one-dimensional by stopping the run. Good. Jared Goff's going to sling it all over the place. 5,000 yards could be realistic for Jared Goff.
And on the other side of the football, Doc, John Morton, a lot of pressure. A lot of people excited to see what he can do. A player who's got a lot of pressure is Terrion Arnold. Now, if Terrion takes that step and becomes that, at least doesn't have to be a lockdown cornerback one, but coming off a first-round pick out of Alabama, you were picked around the same area as Quinyon Mitchell before Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins looked good. If he takes that step, do you think the story of this defense will be about the secondary or the pass rush? Because when you look at that secondary, if Terrion Arnold's playing good, you got DJ Reed, you got Amik, and you got 2 all-pro level safeties behind him. And, of course, up front, you got Aiden Hutchinson. What do you think the storyline of that defense would be if Terrion steps up?
Yeah, the storyline of the defense is going to be top 5 in the National Football League. You got Aiden Hutchinson, you got DJ Reed, you got a young cat in Terrion Arnold. If he can step it up and become semi-locked down, look out, because you just are able to make it so much difficult for these quarterbacks. I do think I'm very curious to see how the Lions are going to handle mobile quarterbacks, the more athletic, because you're going to play some of the creme de la creme. I want to see how they handle Joe Burrow, how they handle Lamar Jackson, how they handle Jordan Love. they handled Caleb Williams working with Ben Johnson. So it's going to be a nice test. Terry, look, first things first, you clearly understand Brad Holmes likes the interior. They want to stop the run. They want to make sure that teams don't eat up clock and dictate to the Lions anything in terms of the opponents being able to rush. I do think they can do that with the interior of the defensive line, especially with Tyreek Williams. Now, in the end, you just got to limit those explosives. You got to kind of limit easy on the, handsiness. I think he'll learn from what he was able to do. I think that the press man coverage will be there strong. And I do think that Terry Arnold is going to compete. And if he's able to now add the element of the turnover to the mix, you just get that much more opportunity for the offense to do their thing. So I think that Terry Arnold's going to grow to probably this year have 3 interceptions. And the one thing you want to see is more game-changing, impactful plays. And I think they're coming. I think this is a guy that's put in the work and wants to showcase, along with Ennis. Those two guys are going to really boost each other's confidence day in and day out. And I mean, how can you look at Terry Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, and say, hey, battling Amon-Ra, Jameson, Tim Patrick every day, Sam Laporta, trying to figure out how to stop them, slow them down in practice. How's that going to impact a defensive back negatively? Iron sharpens iron, and I think they're going to benefit greatly from the work that they do in practice this year. I think training camp is going to be nice for Terry Arnold.
Doc, someone asked us this in Mailbag the other day. I think you're a good person to ask. I don't remember who it was, but it essentially the question was, who's your sleeper on this coaching staff that could potentially be a head coach one day? Besides the obvious, the coordinators, who is someone that you think that people aren't talking about enough as a potential head coaching candidate now that Dan's building a coaching tree?
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I think the coordinators clearly, Calvin Shepard would be in the lead there. I think he's being groomed. Everyone knows it. I think it's Scotty Montgomery. I think that he's a leader. He's somebody that's seen it all, former college experience running a team. And I think that he's probably in line to run his own team as an offensive coordinator pretty soon, and maybe even to be a head coach. I think that it's going to be great. That's another reason why I'm confident. I think that Amon-Ra and J-Mo are going to get even better working with Scotty Montgomery. I just think he's a leader. Like, you just know, like, when you see somebody that has Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery and challenges them and also relates to them at such a great level, I think Scotty Montgomery is right on track to be very successful with the unit that he has. I think him handing off the running back unit to Tashard Choice was going to be great, and he'll still be in that room. I think he's an assistant coach that really adds an element of toughness, grit, and accountability that you want. So I like talking to Scotty Montgomery because he's direct, tells great stories, and I think that he's relatable to a point where he's able to draw respect from the players. And when you're able to do that and fairly quickly, now you have an opportunity to get the most out of these guys. And so I'm looking for great things from St. Brown and J-Mo.
Doc, I'm going to switch the gears here a little bit. The Detroit Tigers, can I ask you your thoughts on what's going on with them currently right now? I know they're, as people and in the rankings, they're the best team in baseball still, technically, when it comes to the roster or the standings. But they've lost 4 of their last 6 games, 6 of their last 10. Today, I mean, the last 3 Flaherty starts have been probably some of the most brutal starts that we've ever seen out of him. What do you think is happening right now? And how do they kind of fix this situation, whether it's the trade deadline or whatever you think it is? Where do you think they go with that?
Yeah, no doubt. First and foremost, I am shocked you didn't ask me about and didn't play I'm gonna knock you out with me and versus Tommy Pham there, since you guys amplified the story there. That was great to see, because I'm sitting there and
that is
last
so
week,
good.
It was so good. And you guys were talking about it. You know what's up. The DOC went to the Home Plate Club, and it was spectacular. I ate, I drank, I enjoyed my time, and I went to a doubleheader, and I saw Scooble Day. I saw him dominate and win. And then the second game was, real interesting. Today at the press box, Colin Morikawa was angry. And then when it seems like wherever the doc goes, there's a little bit of feistiness. I write a story, Valeni's all feisty. There's something about the doc that just produces a storm. I don't know what it is. I'm a nice guy. You guys hung out with me for hours. We laugh, we joke, but it just seems like wherever I go, a shit storm takes place. It was great. But in the end, luckily, it was a story of don't let facts get in the way of a good story.
I mean,
I didn't start none, But if you're going to point your finger in the fans' direction, he wasn't pointing at me. He was pointing in our section. You're going to point in our section, the doc's going to tell you something. And I told him to shut up and sit down because by that point, it was 10 o'clock. My ass wanted to go home. I had enough alcohol in my body. I wanted to get home. And so I let him know, just like the fans did, no hand gestures. I let him know, quite frankly, sit down and shut up and stop looking in our direction because you're wasting our time. And so it was great. I had a good time and you guys saw it and everybody saw it because I put myself in a position to be noticed. And look, I think I proved myself that I'm Team Detroit and you're not going to see me rocking any NY hats or any other schools out there other than teams here locally. So I'm a guy that definitely will support fans. And I was definitely against Tommy Pham throwing out the fans. I thought that was corny. But to your point about the Tigers, nothing's wrong. What's to be concerned about? The way in which I said it on Doc and Jock, which also comes out tomorrow, it's the best team in baseball. What are they going to add? That's all I care about. What are you guys talking about? Yeah, they had a 3-game losing streak. It sucked. And here's the thing. God bless my nephew. We were sitting there in the rain delay, right? Our rain delay, 9 p.m. And we started talking. He's like, they're going to leave here about 12, right? Yeah. And, I wonder how I'm going to phrase this. He goes, yeah, they're going to probably leave here at 12. He's starting to ask, okay, the Pirates are going to leave here at 12. Yeah, probably 12, 12:30. Detroit might get down to Tampa, 2, 3 in the morning. They're going to be wired and then they won't be there till 5. He's like, they're probably going to lose tomorrow. I said, I think so. He's like, you know what to do. So hell yeah. The next day I parlayed a Pittsburgh loss, bet that. Tigers loss, bet that. Parlayed them both, bet that. And nephew just talked me through it. I said, I don't really know much about Tampa Bay other than they were okay, but not playing the best, but they were kind of on a streak. So I'm like, they're probably going to lose just psychologically. And so I hit a nice day after because I was exhausted the next day. I was literally exhausted from watching 11 hours of baseball with a rain delay, eating, all that kind of stuff. But now, outside of the gambling and the fun that I had last week, outside of that, the Tigers, bro, they're great. I think that they got power. They have to work on the bullpen. But now we're at the point, and it really ties in together with what happened this week with Trajan Langdon and the way in which he was like, I don't know if we're going to be super aggressive. I was like, man, you guys took the air out. You got to like hype up a little bit. You got to realize that, yes, I know you're laid back, but you also got to hype up the people that are paying for those tickets. If you were if I was a season ticket holder and I listened to Trajan Langdon, I'm like, damn, that's no hype. That's like status quo. Like fill out. He got to erase that. Add around the margins. Just like, hey, we want to add talent and we want to get better in every facet of the game. That's the only answer you got to give. We're not going to be super aggressive. Well, okay. Scott Harris, I hope didn't hear that because that's the Steve Yzerman plan. Hey, let's build and build and build forever. And when we ask about the young guys, they're never there. The Tigers are in one single boat right now. Who the F are you going to add at the deadline? And when you add those, hopefully 2 or 3 pieces, a starting arm, a bat, a third baseman, whoever it is you add, hopefully takes the team from where they are, which is a contender, to be a serious contender. Because as they sit, it's a team that's taken the next step. It's a good baseball team, very much in line with the analytics of, hey, they move the runners across, they score a bunch of runs. But unfortunately, the starting pitching is now a little bit of concern with Flaherty. But you hope that you got to say a prayer that Reese Olson comes back and can stabilize that force because the bullpen days have been killer. But in the end, we are now at a point with this baseball team where we can kind of dissect little things like, okay, which spot in the batting order should Baez really be at? Is Kerry Carpenter a guy that's legit, or is he a guy that is going to just be a guy that's a spark player here and there, but can be more consistent? So I love this baseball team. I think it's constructed a great way. That's why I bet them early when you ask me over 85 wins because of AJ Hinch. I just think that the next step is not the team on the field right now. That team, enjoyable to watch. You may be seeing Doc more often behind home plate. If I feel like going, I can go anytime I want. I enjoyed it. I had a great time cheering on the Detroit Tigers and messing with Tommy Pham, who's very soft. But right now, there should be one focus. Scott Harris, how the hell he adds to this baseball team at the deadline. That will be a very telling very telling as to the future of this baseball team. But enjoy it. I enjoyed it fully. I enjoyed the full experience of watching Detroit Tigers baseball, and I cheered my heart out, and I heckled the Pittsburgh Pirates by screaming out infield power at their sub 250 hitters across the board there. I had a good time, and within reason, I thought the soft reaction from the media saying that fans shouldn't heckle was the softest S I've ever heard. You go there, you pay your hard-earned dollars, you say what you want within reason. You don't attack family, but you call out what you need to call out, and it's fun. And the baseball players should turn their heads and focus on the pitcher. If you're going to focus on the doc, then you're just going to get yelled at. I mean, what good is that going to do? What's that going to do to look at a fan and swipe at them? That's silly at the highest level. There's nets behind us. There's nothing wrong with words coming out of fans' mouth, especially. Also know too that there was a call that was just being replayed. The fans were just pissed off because they were into it. I loved it. The fans were passionate because they felt like the Tigers got robbed, and the fans weren't nice about it. And but there's a difference. There was a guy. If you look at the video in full, there's a guy on top of me, a couple rows up. He was waving the finger. Me, I'm just waving my arms, having a good time, and telling Tommy Pham to shut up and keep it moving, because by that point it was 10 o'clock and we just withstood an hour rain delay, and we weren't having it. We were ready to go. But man, you guys get excited about this baseball team. It's one that could potentially win 100 games. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't think any of us thought 100 games was even a possibility, Doc. And outside, because I think to your point, there's no one close in the AL to the Tigers. I think the Yankees are the obvious answer, but who else besides the Tigers or besides the Yankees do you think could give the Tigers trouble when they head into playoff time?
Yeah, what's great is that the Tigers had a 3-game losing streak and still kind of held their ground because the Guardians didn't do squat. I think the Guardians can make noise. I think that there's some psychological factor there in terms of the fact that they were a team that knocked out the Tigers last year. I like what they can do in the AL. Yeah, like you said, the Yankees are probably a team, but they got holes as well. So the Tigers are in a pretty good spot in the AL across the board. When you look at it, when you see how they match up with youth and talent, it's just that the bullpen is just one of those deals we want to secure it a little bit more. Their ERA is elevated. And I think that, AJ Hinch wants to be a visionary with the bullpen days, but man, it hasn't been working as much. But, a team that you got to pay attention to if they get hot is a team like the Rays. It's a team that you pay attention to across the board. Should they face each other in future series down the road, pay attention to them. They just have confidence now, dominating what was going on. So I look at the Detroit Tigers and I say, man, you have a lot of good opportunity to match up well against a lot of teams, but very few are going to have opportunity. And like I said, the Tigers went there against Tampa and were exhausted. That was pretty easy. That was probably the easiest bet I've ever made, was the game after the doubleheader, knowing that they got on a plane at midnight. And my nephew texted me. He was like, oh, look, Gleyber Torres posted from the plane. I'm like, yeah, 12 o'clock. See, look at that midnight flight. They're not getting there till 3 a.m. They're going to be wired. They were exhausted. That was one of the easy. I hate to bet the team's losing, but that was the easiest bet I've ever made.
And Doc, we were at the Rocket Mortgage Classic today, and we got to see some Red Wings players out there. Obviously, Dylan Larkin, Alex DeBrincat. Can I just get your thoughts on maybe your confidence level in this whole offseason? Because I think how much pressure it puts on Stevie Y with the Pistons taking steps, the Tigers where they're at, and of course the Lions where they're at. What do you think this means for the Red Wings, Stevie Y, and kind of how hot is this man's seat to you right now?
Right?
It's got to be the hottest. And it's tough because it's Stevie Y, but objectively, if he was Jeff Iafrate, I would be fired yesterday. But let me get your thoughts.
No, there's no confidence because you don't see the level of aggressiveness that you want. Like, I always believe fortune favors the bold. Like, I understand these guys are highly paid. They want to be there 5-6 years, but I have a sense of urgency. Like, when you don't win, it's gross. I have such a high level of competitiveness that I don't know how I would never embark on a plan that would involve 8-9 years of rebuilding, 6-7 years of not being in the postseason. Look, I would have been like right out there at the presser. Yeah, we like Sam Bennett. We want to go get him. He's on a world championship team. We like him. And I don't care if the agent's like, oh, you like us? That's another $2 million a year. I don't care. I want you on this team. I want you to go out there and add the best of the best. And so I made a joke today when Daniela Bruce was like, and just look at the comments. All you got to do is look at the comments regarding the Red Wings. Everybody's like, God, this team's there's no hype. There's no hope. It's you're selling people on a fantasy because they haven't seen anything. First and foremost, start a goalie. I'm going to be clearly, I like having Augustine and Kosa, but I'm going to favor Augustine. Naturally, if you're in the chat and you're wise, you know why I would love Augustine. But you got to trade one. You don't need to hoard 2 goalies. Figure it out. Pick one that you like and play him. You have Kosa rotting in the minors, and maybe he's not that good if he's not up here doing what he's got to do. But I'm like, okay, get yourself a goalie, step one. So Daniela Bruce made a great comment. She's like, man, the centennial season with the Red Wings in their jersey is going to be great. I'm like, yeah, easy. I still have hope. They just need a goalie, 2 new centers, 2 new forwards, 2 new defensemen, and a 4th line. Once he figures that out, now you got yourself a hockey club. So let's go and build it. Steve Yzerman is the antithesis of hype, is the antithesis of building excitement. It's basically prove it now. And all the people that still support, okay, you're just believing in hope. At this point in time, after this many years, you got to show something. And I hope that the new coaching staff and Todd McClellan gets a little bit more out of Dylan Larkin. I feel like in terms of after, his best moments were in a tournament not involving the Red Wings. He came back and was probably dealing with something, but it can't be Larkin and DeBrincat and nobody else. Like, you need contributors. You need guys to step it up. You can't give this fan base that level of productivity on the ice and expect them to still be supportive. It's the lowest it's probably the lowest approval rating that Steve Yzerman has. He's got to turn it around and just watch the Florida Panthers, the way they play. Speed, power, aggressiveness, silenced and beat down the Edmonton Oilers with the best player in the world. So that's how you do it. And hopefully you can start to build up. And look, if you're going to start to look at it like this, if you're just going to take it slow, bring up as many young guys as possible and let them grow. Listen, bring up Kosa, let him take his lumps and figure it out. What's the point of him doing his thing in the minors if you sign Mrazek for $4 million and you're selling that as a trade deadline move? That would be ridiculous. In any sense of the capacity to sell to this fan base. Yeah, at the deadline, we're going to add Peter Mrazek. You got to do better. And Steve Yzerman is highly regarded, and he's got to do a lot better. I have the lowest hope for the Red Wings as I've ever had. And I would just say that probably the best way to describe the early offseason hype for the Red Wings is a big chunk, like a star hockey player hitting a golf ball, but hitting a bigger divot and making the ball move 10 yards is kind of how I describe the early offseason. If you know what I mean, a big chunk, you know what I mean? Big duff, big whiff, in my opinion.
Slow, Doc.
I mean, I'm not going to say people who do that, but Doc, another team here, the Pistons. Obviously, the NBA draft tonight. Don't know if they'll trade in. What do you want to see them do this offseason? Obviously, I'm shocked. Actually, we should have asked you this earlier. Trajan Langdon spoke with the media yesterday and came out and said essentially, like, hey, we're not going to be as aggressive as people probably want. Kind of not direct quote, but kind of in that sense. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think they need to do? Do you think that's fine, just sticking with what they have, running it back, maybe adding a veteran here or there? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, great question by the media. They asked him, like, hey, the East is looking like it could be weaker with Tyrese Halliburton and what's going on with the Celtics. They're kind of moving on from some pieces. Hey, there's a chance for you to kind of get in there. Unfortunately, Trajan is in the slow build plan, which is, hey, let's kind of build our own, which is fine. But I do think that you don't have to maybe say it that way. Like, you don't want to say we're not going to be super aggressive. All you had to say was we're always looking to upgrade talent. We want to build around the best players on this team, and we always want to support them like we did last year. Highlight what you did and get after it. It didn't build hype. It kind of made just your first reaction listening to that was, holy cow, cancel my season tickets. I'm not going to pay no extra money to sit up front to watch that. It's going to be a good team, but here's what you want as a fan. Okay. As a fan. Now you can have the beat writers be like, well, you don't have enough assets to go out there and get the Giannis or go out there and get Kristaps Porzingis. And we have all these young guys and you're going to build and Cade's the next SGA. Well, no, he's not, because SGA is the next SGA and he's amazing and he's going to dominate. And that team's young. And now you have the class of the NBA. That's that team, Oklahoma City. And you're trying to work your way up. You have some pieces. I do want to see Ivy and Cade Cunningham and Isaiah Stewart and Duran. I want to see these guys grow together. But I don't want a Robin to a Batman. Go out and get another effing Batman, is what I said on the podcast. Like, what's wrong with 2, 3 Batmans? Get the best players in the world on this basketball team. Not Kevin Durant at 37 years old, but get involved in the mix. Get involved with people. Hey, float out a fake rumor that you're interested in Giannis. Like, even if you just had a fake rumor that said, hey, we're interested, but we figured out that they want 6 guys. We couldn't do it. Like, you got to build some hype because you have paying customers that you're probably going to raise ticket prices on them. So I want a little bit more in regards to building out this team. Now, you hope that, the contract that they offer Beasley is reasonable. You need a stretch 4. You need maybe a marketing. Maybe you should have been in on Porzingis. You need just to upgrade a little bit at certain spots. But in the end, it really stunk that, Ivy missed out on a year of development with Cade Cunningham. It stinks. I'm curious to see where Giannis ends up. I know it's not realistic, but I look at this Pistons team, and it's a good team, but Orlando's now in the mix. The Cavaliers are in the mix, and out west is dominant at a lot of spots that make it difficult to believe at this point. Because I'm all about championships at this point. I'm about championships, and I'm pretty straightforward. Like, I like to watch the games. It's great, but if you don't sniff the belief that you have a championship, it's a sport that's easy to tune away from because there's a lot of other things in town that are moving in a better direction championship-wise. So I wrote on Twitter at Detroit Podcast, the Pistons are going to be relevant in the conversation that's most important in like 2027. And it stinks because you don't have a first-round pick this year, but I just wouldn't have, like, I think I have more energy in the last 120 seconds than Trajan had his entire talk. Like, you got to kind of sell the fan base a little bit more, like that. You can't talk to the public like that. And, you got to have a little bit more hype than that to sell to your fan base. But they're going to win a lot of regular season games. They could, but like I said, I think the Knicks, if they get the coaching hire right, they're the class. It stinks because the Pacers were going to be right up there and Tyrese Halliburton. But man, those injuries in the NBA were crazy. But it's a nice. It's just, unfortunately, Trajan Langdon is working in an organization that hasn't won in 20 years. So it's a nice step to get in and to be more relevant. But now this offseason, if you can pick, if you want to say around the margins to get Cade Cunningham more support, hopefully that guy's Jaden Ivey. But you got to hope that he's that guy. But we got to see it. He's got to stay healthy.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
I was talking into a muted mic. Let's get to mailbag. We got questions for you, Doc, before we get you out of here. So the people want to ask you some things here. We'll start with Ben Blue. Doc Mailbag. He says, I asked the fellas this last night, and I want your opinion. Out of the NHL, NBA, MLB, and NHL, how would you rank them from 1 to 4 when it comes to rebuilding?
Yeah, in terms of one being the hardest to rebuild, it's the NHL. Yes. Clearly, NHL super tough. These young guys, it seemed like they get drafted at 18 and they come up at 25. That takes forever, man. And we all laughed when they said, Ken Holland said, oh, it takes 10 years to rebuild. Well, listen, man, this is 2025. Nobody has that kind of attention span. Then you go, I think, NBA and then Major League Baseball because it's just so difficult with the spending. And then the NFL, I think you can, if you have success drafting, you can get success pretty quickly, as evidenced by the Lions. 3-9-12 in 3 years with one amazing draft class to start, and you get your quarterback, you can do it in 3 years. And you could argue that in 2023, the third year, the Lions were one of the best teams that could have had a chance to win the Super Bowl.
The next, by the way, we had the same list, by the way. The next one, mailbag for Doc. With this collusion case opinion on Watson dropping, could it somehow affect all the second rounders who remain unsigned? Just 30 guys waiting for guarantees while the league isn't colluding.
Yeah. That was, and that's why it's good, because I tell people journalism isn't dead. It's finally people that understand what journalism is and actually doing it. And that's great, because there's a lot of fanboy slappies that just want to talk about how great everything is and just want the athletes to love them and get on their podcast. That's fine. That's not a bad way to go. But true journalism, as the way in which I understand it is what Pablo Torre did, which is, hey, there's something I want to know about. The league doesn't want to talk about it, so let's go talk about it. So that's the definition of journalism. That's how you do it right. But there's not a lot of people that do it like that because it's not lucrative financially, and the players don't like you, and it's not fun because it's like, you know, who wants to work 8 hours a day with 7 hours a day asking for stuff and then having half the information redacted or nobody answers you back? That's no fun. I'll be honest. I probably could be a wonderful journalist, wonderful. But I looked at it and said, I like to talk. I like to talk shit, just like I did to Hogan Hatton today, right online, and he took it the right way. I like that. It's more fun. It's more lucrative to just talk shit with your fellas than it is to go, hey, I'd like to research why the league doesn't want to pay quarterbacks $250 million guaranteed, as they go, yeah, no, we're not going to email you back, and good luck with that. I don't got time for that. I got things I like to do. I have a lot of interests. So I like talking shit on a microphone much more than doing journalism. But it's not dead, because if you do it great, you go and research and you want to spend your time doing that, you can reach the highest levels of success. And Pablo Torre deserves credit for doing that. I just want to do something different at the highest level. I just want to do the best podcast that I can do. Now, with the guarantees, look, it's simple. Owners want to keep costs relatively low, and they don't want to have guarantees. And players now in the second round want guarantees just like the first round. So right now, that's why a lot of the second rounders are not getting guaranteed money yet. But I think the dam's going to break. It makes sense to move toward that direction in order to make, I mean, clearly, if the NFLPA figures out how to have some strong leadership and figures shit out, then they're going to find ways to get these players paid instead of bending over backwards and taking it up the rear in the way they've been doing it for 20 years. NFLPA was weak when I was a teenager. It has always been weak and is weaker now from how this collusion thing went down. But I do think that owners should definitely be willing to pay first and second rounders. That's fair. Top 60 players in the world should get guaranteed dollars or a more bigger percentage because it's a violent sport. It's tough. I know it's a salary cap league, but I'm all in favor of at least paying the guys if you're going to play a violent sport. But my goodness, did the NFL get exposed for how they treat? Well, I'm not saying I actually wouldn't say exposed, because anybody with common sense would realize the owners, when they go meet, what do you think they talk about? I've said this before. They talk about, good, how's our money doing? Great. Can we make more? Great. Can we pay less? Sure, let's figure that out. So I'm not terribly surprised that's going on. I'm a little surprised they let that shit out. That's crazy that they would let that get into the hands of a journalist. That's wild. I mean, that's something that you should have had a bunch of black ink all over the place. Like if I'm texting another owner, I better have a phone that says, hey, I don't want it getting copied anywhere, because I'm going to be texting some things about some players that nobody's going to like. But they got it out. And now for the next month, people are going to dissect it.
The next one, AG's Burness says, Mailbag Doc, are you going to become a regular fixture behind the plate and giving opponents the business? Can we see more of this doc? I like this doc.
It's a fun doc to watch. I'll tell you what.
It's a good doc to watch. I'm a fan, and I think that's why people in the manner in which they see how I am a real guy. I'm closer to the guys in the chat than I am the media. I was just, like I said, my mission was simple. When I got into the business, I said, okay, I can do a podcast because I'm a good psychologist. I know what fans like to talk about. I respected and I listened to Mike Valeni when he was doing college radio at Michigan State. So I have utmost respect for those that are in live radio and entertaining the fans. So I was generally more in line with being a great producer. Like I knew what would be interesting, what fans would talk about, what fans would debate, what fans would get pissed at, not pissed at. But in my mind, I said, I want to just go there because they told me I can't. I want to ask questions because I know they don't want me to ask it. I just want to go there because I just can I can say that I'm a podcaster covering the NFL, which was almost unheard of, that someone would actually acknowledge that they do a podcast back in 2015, then work to try to cover the NFL as a podcaster who's damn proud of it. So in the end, I hit the mountaintop. I met my goals. I'm a podcaster who talked his way into covering the NFL and earned an opportunity with a company who believed in him. And once they believed in me, that's the rocket fuel I needed. So now I have the means to go have fun and cover games and be at games and act like whatever I want to do. Because in the end, I have so many things to fall back on that if it were all to go away tomorrow, you'd still see me being a happy guy because I'm a smart human being. But listen, in the end, when you know about the doc, it really was fun for me to go act like that. You guys captured me giving the peace sign. But to me, what I'm about was the joy that I gave my nephew, that in the end, he adores baseball to the point of stat analysis, knows things that I'm like, bro, I don't care what Javi's doing today. Like, I got other things I got to worry about, but he texts me nonstop. He loves the game. He's got that youthful energy that you adore. So to do anything to give him a memory of a lifetime and to see, that was just me, having a couple cocktails and reacting to a baseball player. My joy is, and I think you guys kind of know, is when you're able to do fun stuff for others or to see Booner talking to an NFL player. I know where you built that confidence from. I know what I did to help with that. And I know what I did to my nephew and the joy that he got to spend time in different spots at the park, to talk to and be around the Detroit Tigers. So if it means creating great memories this month with my nephew, I'll do as many things as possible to do that for him. I love that kid to pieces. He's a sports addict. He takes after his uncle. And if you see the other video, you see him kind of fronting too. And he's a mild-mannered, super polite young kid, but we're all fans. We're all Detroiters, and Detroiters boo the other team. If you're one of those soft-ass people that doesn't heckle, listen, go cook cupcakes for your wife. This is Detroit. We get rugged, and that's why I love this town, and I'll never leave, because when we felt like an inch that we got screwed, we turned rugged. Those are the people I want to be around. The cupcake cookers, go somewhere else. That's not what we're looking for here. We boo the opposition. We cheer the teams in Detroit. If you don't like it, too bad.
I fucking love that, Doc. All right, we got two more here. Shift God Mailbag for Doc. Who's your early favorite to come out the AFC? Come on, Doc. Talk to me now.
Listen, I like Lamar Jackson. I just think that guy is just poised to kind of prove something sometime. You always got to like the Bengals and what they do. I mean, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, I like them. The Chiefs are always hard to bet against, but you got to figure their run's got to come to an end. So those are some powerhouse teams. The Bills, will they ever get over the hump? That foursome's is crazy. But early favorites come out is I like the Ravens at this point.
And the last one, Baldalai says, Doc Mailbag, any bold NFL predictions you got for this season in the tank, Doc? I know I already gave your 5,000-yard one for Jared Goff, but you got anything you've been
bold prediction for the Lions season is, let's see. I think that this Detroit Lions team is going to surprise a lot of people. There's a chance, like I said, I think this team, I don't think it's a bold prediction because of how good they are, but I just feel like this fan base has to taste that Super Bowl loss. They get to the Super Bowl in San Francisco, and they get there, and it's an AFC team. It's a bold prediction is, let's just go right to the top. They get to the Super Bowl, and some official makes some dumbass call, and we get screwed in the Super Bowl. They're going to have Jameson Williams toe tap, and everybody in the whole world can see him in the back of the end zone. He's going to start doing his dance, and then they're going to call it incomplete, and they're going to do a replay, and the whole world sees. The announcer's going to be like, oh, yeah, that's a touchdown. No doubt about it. And then the official's going to come back and be like, after further review, Jameson Williams was out of bounds. And then First Take's going to talk about it the next day, and the whole world's going to come down on the officials, and some crazy S is going to happen that's going to cost the Lions. Isn't that kind of the destiny? Maybe. I talked about it on the podcast. Maybe Sam Laporta went right to the big guy. I will tease it. I prayed on the last Lone Wolves podcast. I said, big man upstairs, we've been praying quietly. Man, favor, come down one time and give these fans what they deserve. Like, hey, if Sam Laporta is going to meet the Pope and have it be reported, big man upstairs, one time, shine the light on these Detroit Lions. Let us win and have a quality season. Don't let me see a Super Bowl loss, because I don't know if my little heart can take it, man. I don't know. I'm a happy guy. I got a lot of energy. I don't know if I can take it, but I just can't shake the feeling that it's coming, and probably going to come in an epic fashion.
Actually, we got one more. U of M Dad says, Mailbag, Doc, do you plan on tailgating with fellow Lions fans / Crunch Time members?
Listen, I think now
Doc,
you guys
I feel like you'd be electric at a tailgate.
Yeah. I think that you guys saw how I am at the golf course. We have a good time. We chatted it up, talked a little junk. If you invite me, I think that there's an opportunity to tailgate and do some fun things anytime. No problem, man. I think you guys saw photos with the Crunch Time crew. I'm friendly with everybody. I like everybody in the way they're doing things in town. A lot of great content creators, YouTubers, journalists. There's a lot of great things going on in Detroit sports. So if they invite me, like I always say, like they do here on the show, if they invite me, I'll come have a good time. Why not?
Love it. Doc, we love you, my friend. Hey, keep doing your thing.
Man,
Keep
Doc.
crushing. You guys can check out Doc. Follow him on X at Detroit Podcast, or check out
Legend.
Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated. Doc, we'll talk to you very soon, my friend.
Hey,
Thank you guys.
if you want to
Follow
meet
along,
the
Lions
Doc
Anytime.
this weekend, come to the Rocket Mortgage. If you want to, the Rocket Classic, if you want to meet the Doc's going to be there all weekend. We all will be there as well.
Yeah, come say hi. The fellas, maybe they'll carry on. The fellas had a fun time in their official uniform. You guys got to share what was
We
going on.
did
These guys were
today.
getting noticed. These guys were getting noticed left and right. But in a capacity, maybe they didn't think was going to happen. You guys are better than the help. Maybe.
Hey, the DOC, there he goes, man.
It is love. We did have
yeah.
today, and we didn't plan it. First day of the Classic, we all showed up because we all have for sure the same polo because we've just ordered them and all got it. I don't think we've ever all worn it in the same day. And me, Jeff, and Gentry all showed up today with the exact same Crunch Time polo. And like while we're walking, shout out, some people came up to us, watched the show. There were people coming up to us though that might have thought we worked there because they're all black. And we looked like we were like security that worked there. And people coming up like, hey, where's the bathroom? Where's this? I'm like,
Oh, dude.
we don't know. Like we have our credentials on, which makes it more look like we work there. But it was just like Jeff got asked straight up, do you work here? This guy Jeff's just like, yeah, I do. And we're like, what? It's like he was like, where's the bathroom? He goes, oh, I don't actually work here. I was like, what are you doing, bro?
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, yeah. I mean, it was very humbling, to be honest. I like it. It was fun. Hey, that's someone going to be like, hey, man, am I allowed to go in here? I'm like, listen, buddy, I don't know where the hell you're allowed to
So
go.
a lady come up and
All right.
ask me, like, where's this tent at? I don't know.
Listen, we're not being paid by the Rocket Classic to be here.
We're here to make content, man.
We're here to make content, man. You know.
I did give out my picks for the weekend, dude. If I can share them.
Yeah,
with
let me
the
see.
people.
You gave out your picks.
And Jeff, I did tell you, I did bring up that there was one player for a top 10 that has gotten a top 10 every year he's played here, 3 straight years. I figured out who it was. I had to go do some research to figure it out. I did figure it out, and I found his odds and everything. I picked 4 players to win the tournament, and I put 1 top 10 in. Jeff, I think you should ride the top 10. And
Yeah.
I think you should. And I think you should maybe even the winners, like maybe a couple bucks on each one, because I kind of like all 3. 4 winners, a top 10. I took the favorite, Colin Morikawa. Captain America, Keegan Bradley. We saw him today. The guy's just, hey, he is big dude, by the way, Keegan Bradley is. Cameron Young, plus 2,300. I think he's finished top 10 2 of the last 3 years, maybe even top 5 2 of the last 3 years. Min Woo Lee, who came in second last year, and the man himself. I think he's Canadian. Not really familiar with this game. He's been in the tournament the last 3 seasons, and every single year he's finished top 10. Taylor Moore, top 10, plus 550. That's what you call value right there. That's what you call some value right there. So those are my picks that I'm taking. And we're gonna be out there making content, so it should be fun.
What about Ricky Fowler? Throwing Ricky Fowler.
I'm out on the Ricky thing. I think he had that 1 year. Ricky's such an up and down. I like Ricky Fowler. To bet on him to win. I mean, if he starts to kind of play well tomorrow, Friday, maybe a sprinkle a little on it before his odds really move. But yeah, I don't know. He hasn't. I don't think he's been playing. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember the last time I saw him win a tournament.
It seems like plus 1,200 for Colin is like hell yeah, but there's just part of it where I feel when I bet on Colin where I just lose. But I want to like Colin at plus.
He's the favorite.
He's the favorite. You know?
And remember today in the press conference, like he had talked about today that he's dropped out. He's fallen out of the Ryder Cup. To be on Team USA for the Ryder Cup, you have to be like an automatic big. I think it's top 5 or top 6. I think it's top 6. I think he said last week, he said after last week's tournament, I felt outside that top 6. And he was like, I need to do everything I can to get back into there so I can play in the Ryder Cup. So I think this is a weekend for him to get back in there. If he wins this tournament, then it kind of pushes him into that. So I think he's going to be trying to play some good golf this weekend. And Minwoo Lee is a fun guy to watch too. If you have a chance to watch him tomorrow, go watch him.
Yeah, Minwoo Lee, man, plus 5,000. I mean, shit. Throwing at,
Cam Young as well. Cam Young's played very well here.
Yeah, I like this, Boone. Good job. I'm definitely going to bet, and I'm probably going to lose more money, but it's okay.
Yeah, but it's like a weekend thing. You know what I mean? That's why I do like betting golf, because it's not like just like an hour or two and you're like, oh, we're done.
No,
it's
you're
have a full weekend. Yeah. And especially if you bet 4 winners, like say you put sprinkle on all 4 winners, one of them has to be in it on Sunday, right? Like you would think one of those guys are top 5 with the chance to win it. So those are the guys. And Taylor Moore, I think he'll be top 10. He plays well here in Detroit.
By the way, let me see the NBA draft. I want to just see where they're at right now because I haven't.
They're in pick 15. Thomas Sorber from Georgetown just went to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They just got a center.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these guys. I mean,
it's interesting. I put it in the group chat with a bunch of the fellas that I don't know if you guys saw this. The Suns, they drafted the center out of Duke, and literally as they're on the clock, they make a trade for Mark Williams from the Hornets for like one of their picks later in the first round and a future first and and they gave up a first next year as well. So they gave up like the 20-something pick, and then they gave up their first next year, got Mark Williams, a center, and then drafted the center out of Duke. So within 30 seconds, they added 2 new centers to their ball club.
They need big men, though.
They do, yeah.
They literally.
Just one of them's definitely coming off the bench, so probably the rookie. But the rookie's good, dude. Dude out of Duke is like, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Dude, he's so good, man.
He's an absolute fucking giant.
A 7-footer, and he's athletic, too. He can move. Like he's for a guy that size, moving around the court. It's impressive. Duke had 3 top 10 picks this year.
Nick said Cam Davis. Cam Davis out there?
Yeah, Cam was. I saw him out there on the putting green today. Cam. I think Cam's good. Listen, he won last year, and I think he won 3 years ago. He plays well at the course. Maybe I will. Maybe by the end of the night I will, to be honest. Maybe I will before tomorrow. It's hard back to back, dude. I feel like that's tough. But he does play well at this course, so I can see why you say that.
I don't know what Cam Davis's odds are. Do you know? It's probably crazy.
I don't.
No. I mean, if he's won 2 of the last 5 years, I mean, shit, they have to be. But by the way, Generic says, why does Jeff look super tan and Boone super pink?
I'm just a little more burnt. Mine hasn't. Well, Jeff.
Not everyone is lucky enough to have my genetics.
No, let's break this down real quick. We're both Italian, right? I'm Sicilian. I don't know what
you're
you
Sicilian.
Are, right?
That's why you're. I'm Italian.
The problem is my dad, who's my Italian side, he has like the olive skin I think that you have, and my brother has that. I kind of got my mom's skin, but when I burn like this and get tan, it starts to turn into that. And I think Sicilians too. I think are a little more pale and then get tan. So I don't know if I explained it.
You just got to go through a little bit of adversity first,
Yeah, dude. I'll burn once and then it's over. Like, dude, I burnt a couple weeks ago. You could say I'm burnt, but it's just right now. I'm just getting darker. See? See? I just get very dark. Very quick.
Dude. Yeah, that's you got fried, man.
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt. Like typically this would hurt people. It doesn't hurt. It's just for me, it's just body takes it. Good to go.
Easy said Mailbag, why doesn't Lucas text me back?
I'm terrible at text. Call me easy. Call me easy.
Klotz, are you texting? You're not texting back?
Yeah, I've always been bad texting.
Fair enough. Easy. I text Easy today. Oh, I guess Easy. Never mind. Actually,
yeah,
he did. I texted him. He kind of responded.
This Nick P says, "You Crunchtime boys come to Florida for the Players Championship. I will buy beers for a party on 17." Holy shit! Hey, say less, Nick P. We'll be down there, man. Yeah, Klotz, you got to go to like. I think if you experience one of those events, I think you would be.
It
like,
has to be a specific event,
like TPC.
Or if he goes to, I think the one for Klotz would be like, Arizona.
The Waste Management.
Yeah, if you went to the
Klotz would be like, it's Klotz. It's basically like they make it an event to where people are like freaking out and cheering while the players are like going.
Or like live.
If it's a quiet atmosphere,
no, it's like people are drunk. Like there's probably 100,000 people wasted watching golf.
Oh.
Like that's some shit you would thrive in.
I think you would.
Yeah,
I would even
in Arizona too.
Yeah,
I'd be down for that.
You would thrive in that. I think you would thrive in that environment. Easy said, "My bad, Boone. I was digging into Lane Johnson tape. I did see Easy tweet out
Tweeting a lot
how
about
Lane Johnson. That was such bullshit, dude.
No. I think Easy uncovered something, and
he did. Yeah,
I think PFF, not even just PFF, even in the NFL, because I think they cover up people's stats. I think Easy's found like 4 or 5 sacks already given up by Lane Johnson. And Lane Johnson in like every stat, NFL.com, PFF, I think they all credited him with 0 sacks this year. And Easy already found like 5 that Lane Johnson had. So someone, that's not good. That's like actually like that's not good. That's a problem.
Yeah, when Easy gets into these like random moods where he just starts like diving into random shit, I love it. It's one of the best things ever.
Him versus CJGJ, like that stuff.
Well, it's like anything. Like Easy will just randomly tweet something, and I'm just like, how did this dude just think of this? Like he's just watching Lane Johnson film, and just is like, how is this how is this a sack and this isn't? It's like, dude, what do you? It's the most random shit, but it's actually great points, to be honest.
Yeah.
Easy's a fun follow on X. You should definitely follow him.
But someone needs to escalate that to the top to Roger Goodell, because there needs to be a fix quick in that if that's the case, because he's credited with 0 sacks last season, and every ranking has him number 1 because of that. And this guy is finding more and more.
Jay Hart says, Mailbag, which training camp dates are you all planning to attend? Would love to bump into one of you guys one of those days.
Oh, I actually text.
Jay Hart, we'll let you know, man. We'll let you know. We'll be down there. I'd love to meet a lot of you guys, man. Just watch some training camp football, talk some ball, meet you guys. Hopefully, a lot of you guys are going out there. So
I had the dates. I can't remember what they were.
We'll get the tickets and then we'll tell you guys the dates. We'll probably when we do get those. So yeah, we will let you know, Jay Hart, for sure. We'd love to meet you, brother. That'd be awesome. That'd be sweet. But hey, good show today, fellas. Appreciate the doc. Appreciate you all. It's been amazing. Today was amazing. The love we got, we were showing a lot of love down at the Rocket Classic, Detroit Golf Club, man. People come up to us, say they love the show. It's the best thing in the world. So you guys make it possible. We'll be back tomorrow, Thursday, 8 p.m. Pistons will be selecting in the second round.
Who are they picking?
Alex Dewey. Not at 37, though. They're going to trade up and get him.
In the first round tonight, I got to stay up.
We might get a notification. Yeah.
Yep.
Alex Dewey. All right, we'll get out of here. Appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your night. Stay blessed.
All right, love you guys.